Hey friends, Burkus here. Welcome back to the Daily Burk, and today we are talking about why you should ignore the hippo. You may have heard this term before, hippo. It describes in a meeting who the highest paid person in the room is. Right? The person who is usually the highest up on the hierarchy, but also the highest salary. We have a natural tendency to take our cues from him or her and to judge our ideas, our questions, what we're willing to share accordingly. Now, when you are in a meeting, presumably the primary reason you called that meeting is not to get some all hands report, but to solve a problem, to put multiple heads together and to figure out a new way forward, a decision that has to be made, etc. And when we do that thing where we default to the hippo, we end up much more conformed to his or her ideas, much more likely to groupthink, and definitely much less likely to make a good idea. So when you're in a meeting, you need to ignore the hippo. Now, how do you do that? Well, presumably, most of the time, the highest paid person in the room is also the person who's running the meeting. Now, they may not be the one who drafted the agenda or whomever, but they're the one standing when everyone else is sitting. They're the one watching the clock. They're the one explaining certain things. And so if that's you and you're the facilitator, recognize that you are the hippo and do subtle things to show that you are willing to consider dissent. Right? Encourage a few people ahead of time in the meeting to speak up and disagree with you, or when someone organically disagrees with you, make sure you're communicating that you've heard them and you're willing to consider their idea as well. If you're the facilitator of the meeting and you are not the hippo, then this is a conversation you need to have ahead of time. What are we going to do to signal to our people that that person's opinion is less important? I mean, the biggest thing you can do is make sure they speak last, assign someone else all the presentation duties, etc., which if you're the facilitator, you're sort of already doing. But make sure even in a discussion that you're clear before we all go into the meeting, hey, I want to make sure we get the best ideas, and that means we get lots of ideas. And I know we'll get a whole lot more if you can pause and be the last one to speak when it comes time for discussion. These are just two ways you can ignore the hippo. There are a whole lot more, but this is a brief video, so we don't have time for them all. The biggest thing to remember though, if we ignore the hippo, we are much more likely to make a great decision. If we take our cues from the hippo in the room, we are much more likely to have conformity, groupthink, and a terrible decision. So ignore the hippo and make a better decision. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Daily Burk. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you've been in one of these meetings where everybody's just looking at the hippo, trying to take their cues from it. What was it like? Let me know that in the comments. While you're there, make sure you're subscribed to the show because we're posting new episodes every single weekday designed to help you do your best work ever. And I want to make sure you don't miss a single one. Thanks again so much for watching The Daily Burk.